Tonight feels softer than the sea expects, and the old lighthouse is patient. I arrive without hurry, drawn by a calm that seems to live in the pale light along the stones and the steady hush of water brushing the base. The door takes the weight of my hand easily. Wood that has remembered years of gentle use. And inside the air holds a quiet that feels like a familiar room awaiting a returning friend, even if the lantern has not been lit for a very long time. The stairs curve upward, a slow spiral with a handrail, smooth from many careful palms. The metal carries a mild coolness that settles kindly into the skin, and each step sounds like someone turning a page without urgency. Somewhere above, glass waits in the lantern room, patient panes watching the coast with soft attention. The scent here is a blend of salt, old rope, and warm wood, a tempered mixture that asks for nothing from me except to breathe and notice. There is a table near the window on the lower level, a simple space with a chair that knows how to support a quiet back. A small notebook sits open, its paper creamy and dignified, a pencil resting diagonally across the page, as if paused in a thought that never needed finishing. When I cross the room, the floor stones offer a gentle firmness underfoot, steady as good intentions, and I feel the ease that buildings learn when they have done their work and settled into peace. If you are here with me, you can sit near the window and see how the sea does not insist on being noticed. It moves in a measured rhythm, a soft roll that keeps company with the evening without asking for attention. The light from outside comes in muted, as though the sky has learned there is a time for brightness and a time for rest, and tonight prefers rest. The texture of the wood along the window ledge is pleasantly worn, tiny ridges speaking of years when hands leaned and eyes looked outward without urgency. But there is something gentle still waiting. The kettle in the corner has already learned the room's quiet. When I set it on for warm water, the metal answers with soft clicks and a little breath that never becomes a whistle. I find a tin wrapped in thin paper and lift the lid, meeting the mild scent of chamomile and a hint of citrus that feels like a smile that does not need to be seen to be felt. The cup warms in my hands, and the steam rises like a small, harmless cloud that shapes nothing and comforts everything. The lighthouse remembers the days when its lantern guided ships, when the glass reflected points of brightness into the night, when the beam swung over the water with a steady, reassuring pace. It does not long for those days. It simply holds them like folded towels in a neat stack, ready if needed, restful if not. I run my fingers along the old brass fittings, feeling the cool smoothness that speaks of careful use and long pauses, and I am content to stand here with a cup and the quiet. Perhaps you can feel your shoulders settle, a welcome weight that is not heavy. The room meets your breath, as though it had been waiting to agree with its pace. And if you set your hand on the table, you may notice how the wood accepts, gathering warmth where your palm rests, returning companionship in the simple way objects know when they are allowed to be kind. The world beyond the window keeps moving in an easy line, and here the inside moves more slowly. Practice for a kind of rest that feels earned by simply being present. Not everything has revealed itself yet. On a shelf beside the door, I find a small box of envelopes, each one blank, each one unsealed. They are old but not fragile, with edges that are soft from being touched more than from any harm. I take one and feel the paper's modest tooth, a texture that welcomes fingertips the way the sea welcomes the shore, and I decide to write nothing inside it. Unwritten things can sometimes feel like space left for quiet, and tonight space is a gentle companion. The spiral stairs call without urgency. I answer them one step at a time. The metal is cool, the center pole steady, and the echo is mild in the chamber, more like a low murmur than a sound that keeps itself in memory. At the landing, a small window offers a view of the coast's curve, houses sitting honest along the hill, lamps beginning to glow with a warm blush. Each light feels like a household practicing rest, and I imagine the way blankets welcome shoulders and cups wait with patience on sturdy tables. If you lean on the rail, you can feel how the lighthouse balances its weight without effort. It has no need to prove anything. The sea breeze moves through thin gaps, bringing a clean openness that tastes faintly of salt and something leafy, and the air under your hand is a little cooler than the air near your cheek. A kind difference, enough to notice, enough to remind you that small changes can be soothing when they arrive with care. There is one quiet detail you have not noticed. Up in the lantern room, the floor holds a circular pattern in the boards, a reminder of the beam that used to turn. The glass now rests in steady frames, no swing, only a transparent presence that receives the sky and returns it without argument. I touch the brass rim where the lens once sat, and the coolness answers with its own calm, a gentle temperature that belongs to objects left undisturbed. The sound here is very small, almost the idea of sound rather than its full form, and it drifts around like a friendly thought. I set my cup down and press my palm to the glass. It is neither warm nor cold, simply attentive. Beyond, the sea carries an easy texture, a surface that has decided tonight to prefer smoothness over show. A gull passes with quiet wings, and its body is a piece of the scene that does not demand anyone notice. The scent in the lantern room is a tender mix of dust and salt, an honest combination that reminds me of old notebooks and open windows. You might enjoy standing in a room that once had a job and now has none, feeling how the absence of task can become comfort rather than emptiness. The walls do not lean in or out. They stand as they have learned to stand. If you close your eyes for a slow breath, there is no weight pressing back, only a pause that welcomes you. A pause that allows you to be in a place without solving anything, but there is something gentle still waiting. I come back down a level and find a chair near a low shelf of books. The spines are faded and unurgent. The pages have a slight waviness from years living near salt air. I choose one without reading the title and let it sit on my lap without opening. Its weight is small and right. The fabric of the chair's cushion feels like a promise kept for softness, and my legs find a friendly angle without thinking, knee relaxing to match the room's pace. From this spot, the lighthouse hums in ways that are not sound. The light eases along the walls. The floor offers support evenly, no effort required from me to find balance. If you are beside me, you can share the quiet in that particular way that does not require talking. The air carries the faint sweetness of the tea, and each breath feels like agreeing with a path that has already been cleared of stones. I turn the book so its cover faces up again. The letters do not ask to be read. They rest. I rest. The room takes quiet as a given, not a goal, and the minutes place themselves softly one after another, like hand-stitched pieces in a cotton quilt. Outside, the sea maintains its practice. Inside, the lighthouse maintains its kindness. Not everything has revealed itself yet. There is a drawer in the table with a small latch that does not stick. Inside, neatly arranged, are simple tools: a soft cloth, a pencil, a small brush, a folded cloth map of the coast, and a tin that once held biscuits, but now holds smooth pebbles. I lift the tin and roll one stone between my thumb and forefinger, feeling how the surface is satisfied with itself, neither seeking polish nor rejecting it. The brush, when lifted, flickers dust without effort, not pretending to make things new, only clearing what does not need to remain. The map unfolds quietly, the fabric whispering against the table as a kind of greeting. Lines along the shore are gentle arcs, the notations, written in a hand that preferred the slow steadiness of a careful pen. There are small marks where the lighthouse has seen weather and welcomed it home without changing its character. I trace the coast with a fingertip, not traveling anywhere, only sharing the line for a moment. If you find yourself wishing to be elsewhere, this map offers the kindest version of that wish. You can be here, and also somewhere along the curve, where houses keep their windows open to quiet evenings, where tea waits on stoves and blankets lay across the backs of chairs. The scent of old paper is mild, like grain and sunlight stored in fibers, and the drawer closes with a tiny click that feels like a small, painless conclusion to a gentle step. There is one quiet detail you have not noticed. The lighthouse's door has a second hinge lower than the others, a small reinforcement that likely relieved a squeak many years ago. I run my fingers over it and feel the cool shape, the function simple, and the presence honest. Such details keep the place together without asking to be known. It is nice when necessary things are content to be subtle. The air near the door shares a faint earthiness, taught to it by the stones at the base, and I breathe it like a lesson, without obligation. When I return to the window, the sky has softened further, not dark, only calmly reduced in brightness, like a voice lowering itself so you can rest. The water carries fewer lines, and the shore gathers itself in a gentle edge. A lantern from a boat far out offers a small point of warmth, just enough to suggest someone else is practicing quiet in their own way, not calling attention, only being. You can place your hand on the window ledge and feel the smoothness that many hands have found before. It is a comforting pale curve beneath the fingers, and the wood's warmth gathers slowly, not in a hurry, and then stays. If you bring your other hand to your lap, the balance is exact, and your breathing meets the room in an agreement so soft you may not realize it is happening until it has already happened. But there is something gentle still waiting. Near the stairs, a folded blanket rests, wide knit and softly weighted. I lift it and feel how it understands warmth without heaviness. The cup has cooled while I wandered. The last sip leaves a faint trace of chamomile, kind and quiet. Light touches the stones unevenly, bright in some places, softer in others, and the border between them feels calm. Your hands may rest. Your thoughts may slow. Not everything has revealed itself yet. The lighthouse speaks in small sounds, a low creak where sea and stone meet, the wind threading gently through a narrow seam. Old glass jars stand open on a shelf, empty but content, catching light in soft circles. Time feels easy here. Your breath may notice. There is one quiet detail you have not noticed. A black and white photograph leans against a book. The lighthouse stands as it once did, work finished, rest allowed. I turn it slightly toward the room and leave it. Some things want to be seen, not examined. The chair accepts the body without asking for posture. I have nothing to fix. The room agrees. But there is something gentle still waiting. The kettle cools with a soft click. I dry the cup and return it to the shelf. The lighthouse stays closed to the night, content. Inside and outside move in different rhythms, both kind. You may find a place where breath and light move together without effort. A notebook closes without importance. A coiled rope rests nearby, softened by patience. The sea carries a mild silver tone. The window handle suggests both readiness and rest. Either choice is fine. There is one quiet detail you have not noticed. A small tin of matches rests by the stove. I lift it, hear the faint shift inside, and set it down again. Warmth does not need to happen to be possible. The blanket settles across my lap, warmth growing slowly, at a friendly pace. If you are beside me, that promise can be yours too. But there is something gentle still waiting. Tonight, the lighthouse keeps rest instead of light. It holds time gently. Outside, the sea carries stories without speaking. Inside, the room receives them without keeping. Nothing important needs to be done for goodness to exist here. A quiet clock moves politely, measuring nothing that matters tonight. The book remains unopened. Presence is enough. The waves draw a line, then release it. Follow one. Let one go. But there is something gentle still waiting. The ending is not a place. It is a pace. The blanket holds steady warmth. The jars carry soft light. The sea quiets. The lighthouse keeps a pause that stretches without effort. You are here, and that is enough.